Hi, hello, welcome mga kabayso. I am Marvin. Today, in this video, we're discussing about the National Building Code of the Philippines. In this video particularly, we will discuss more on the Chapter 12. It involves all the big types of buildings such as the grandstand, stairs, exit passage, and many more that relates in the construction and its safety features for the building, and also here the exits for the occupants on that building. To learn more about this video, you may watch this video, and here is my presentation. Presenting. In this video, we will talk about the Chapter 12 General Design and Construction Requirements of the National Building Code of the Philippines. We will have to have these unit objectives for this video. At the end of this unit, the student will be able to discuss and explain architectural, structural, electrical, plumbing, and sanitary code symbols and standards. Section 1201, the General Requirements. Building proposed for construction shall comply with all the regulations and specifications herein set forth governing quality, characteristics and properties of materials, methods of design, and construction types of occupancy and classification. For Section 1202, the Excavation, Foundation, and Retaining Wall, a design and quality of materials used structurally in excavation, footing, and in foundation shall conform to the accepted engineering practices. So here in this section, we have here the standards for all the materials in the excavation, which is standard in the Department of the Public Works and Highways. In the excavation, all fill materials should be approved by the engineers in charge. In this picture here, we can say an excavator making a trench for the construction, and in the middle figure we can have here the footing of a certain type of structure, and on the right side we can have here a figure of a small retaining wall that holds the soil from the above. Excavation and fill. Excavation or fill for buildings or structures shall be constructed or protected that they do not endanger life or property. In the excavation, we have here two protections. So we have here in the first figure, we can see the whole excavated area is covered with a fence so that it will protect some of the people that goes around in this portion of the excavation. In the other side, we can have this picture of a cut and cover construction where the project is protected by a wall to avoid soil from going down to the project area. And also we have here the sign and signages that will be put on the excavated site to warn the people or warn other person on the site of the construction that there is a danger for deep excavation. The person undertaking or causing the excavation to be undertaken shall be responsible for the expense of the underpinning of the extending the foundation or footing of the aforementioned property or structure. Excavation and other similar disturbances made on the public property shall be restored immediately to its former condition within 48 hours for the start of such excavation and disturbance by whosoever caused such excavation or disturbance. Meaning, this excavation should be restored as soon as possible. In Section 1202 again, excavation, foundation, and retaining wall, the footing, foundation, and retaining walls, footings and foundations shall be the appropriate type of adequate size and capacity in order for safe sustain the superimposed load under the seismic and any condition of external forces that may affect the safety of the, or stability of the structure. It shall be responsible for the architects or and engineer to adapt the type of design of the same. Here is stated in this section that the foundation or any supporting structure is governed in the design of such foundations. As for example, we have here a concrete foundation shall go or shall conform with the design of the reinforced concrete design. So therefore, it is designed for that kind of load in order to withstand the loads of the structure. An abrupt change in ground level or level of the foundation, such as instability of the soils, could result. Retaining walls shall be provided, and such shall be adequate design and type of construction. A retaining wall is designed for a sudden or abrupt change in the natural grade line. In this case, here we can see a retaining wall that's supporting the building. And also for the foundation type, will be used in order to support the foundation. Section 1203, Veneer. The definition for veneer is a non-structural facing of brick, concrete, tile, metal, plastic, glass, and other similar approved materials attached to a backing or structural equipment components of the building for the purpose of ornamentation, protection, and enclosure that may be adhered, integrated, or anchored either on the interior or exterior of the building or structure. The design requirements is the design of the veneer shall comply with the following. Veneer shall support no load other than its own weight. Surfaces of which veneer is attached shall be designed to support the additional vertical and lateral loads imposed. Consideration shall be given to differential movements. Adhered veneer and its backing shall be designed to have a band to the supporting elements. Anchored veneer and its attachment shall be designed to resist horizontal forces equal to the twice of the weight of the veneer. And anchors, support, and ties shall be non-combustible and corrosion resistant. These are the requirements for the veneer. By the way, we are talking about veneer. Veneer is just may look like in a figure, but in the figure it is a concrete or a masonry veneer. There are many types of veneer as stated in this section. Section 1204, Enclosure of Vertical Opening. General vertical opening shall enclose depending upon the fire resistive requirements of the particular type of construction as set forth in this code that we have mentioned in the other video. We have here a picture of a vertical enclosure or opening enclosure. It resembles that the height of the floor and the continuous flame regions. So there is what we call an enclosure, for that in order for the flame or for this figure a flame will not go through the other openings. Elevator enclosures. Walls and partition enclosing elevators and escalators shall be not less than the fire resistive construction required under the types of construction. Well, for elevator, we can have this enclosure for the elevator shaft itself. It is covered. In this case, we have here a type of material that protects the inside of the elevator. Other vertical openings, all shaft, duct, chutes, and other vertical openings not covered in paragraph B above shall be enclosed wall conforming to the requirements specified under the type of construction of the building in which they are located. We have here a shaft. It is used for the ducting or air ventilation of the building. Air ducts passing through the floor shall be enclosed in a shaft. The shaft shall be as required in this code for vertical openings. Dampers shall be installed where ducts pierce and shaft enclosed walls. Section 1205 Floor Construction. Floor shall be of such material and construction as specified under Chapter 5, the fire zones and fire resistive standards under the Chapter 6 types of construction. In Section 1206, Roof Construction and Covering. A roof covering for all buildings shall be either fire retardant or ordinary depending upon the fire resistive requirements of the particular type of construction. We have here the different type of roof, and it is in a galvanized form. Roof trusses. All roofs shall be so framed and tied into the frameworks and supporting walls so that to form an integral part of the whole building. Meaning, it is part of the roof trusses. It should be part of the roof, so it will work as one with the roofing. There are many kinds of roof trusses. Mostly in this part here, in this picture, this is made of wood of many types. Other trusses are made of steel, but what thing it represents in this section that it should work as one with the roofing. Section 1206 Roof Construction and Covering. For attics, access opening shall be provided in the ceiling of the top floor of the building with a combustible ceiling or roof construction. The opening shall be located in the corridor or hallway of the building of 3 or more stories in height and readily accessible in building at any height. The area separation. Enclosed attic space of combustible construction shall be divided into horizontal areas not exceeding 250 square meters by fire-resistive partitions extending from the ceiling to the roof. For draft stop, regardless of the type of construction, draft stop shall be installed in trusses roof between roof and bottom chord of truss, and all buildings exceed 2,000 square meters. In the case of ventilation for attics, enclosed attics including rafter spaces formed where ceilings are applied direct to the underside of roof rafter shall be provided with adequate ventilation protected against the entrance of rain. When we talk about attic, it is a space between the roof or in the truss and the ceiling. So we have here in this figure that the between the roof and the ceiling is utilized as a room. We call that one as the attic. In this section, it is specifying the specification for the attic. Roof drainage system. Roof drain shall be installed at low points of the roof and shall be adequate to size to discharge all tributary waters. Overflow drains and scuppers. Concealed piping. Roof drains and overflow drains. Over public property, roof drainage water from the building shall not be permitted to flow over public property except for Group A and Group J occupancy, flushing, and counter-flushing. We have here a roof drain example for that one. It should be located, of course, in the lowest part where water will go all on that area. So it should be specified in this section that the pipings there are adequate to accommodate the water or rainwater at the roof construction. So we have here in that left figure, we can have a gutter with a pipes going down towards the ground or drainage. And the other side here, in the right side, we can have here the rooftop and has the water go on the lower side and a drainage is provided. So other pipings here are concealed by the roof or in the roofing, so we don't see the pipings. Section 1207 Stairs, Exits, and Occupant Loads. General, the construction of stairs and exits shall conform with the occupant's load requirement of building, reviewing stand, bleachers, and grandstand. In the determination of occupant load, exit requirements of the building or portion thereof used for different purpose shall be determined by the occupant load, which gives the largest number of persons on obstruction shall be placed in the required width of an exit. posted in the conspicuous place near the main exit of the room. This is posting of the room capacity. For the change in elevation, except for Group A occupancies, change in elevation of less than 300 millimeters along in exit serving a tributary occupant load of 10 or more shall be means of ramps. In this figure here, we can have this an example of stairs and stairs used for exits. So we have here a standard form or a standard measurement or minimum measurement for the exit stairs and with respect to the occupant load. Exits. The number of exits required for any story of the building shall be determined by using the occupant load of the floor which exit through the level under the consideration of as follows. 60% of the occupant load in the first adjacent story and 25% of the occupant load in the story immediately beyond the first adjacent story. The maximum number of exits required for any story shall be maintained until egress is provided from the structure. Floor above the second story, basements, and cellar used for other than the service of the building shall have not less than 2 exits. The minimum number of exits is 2. So its exits shall be provided in appropriate area, and also it is illuminated and will guide the people there towards it. Width. The total exit width required for any story of the building shall be determined by the using of the occupant load of the story plus the percentage of the occupant load of the floor which exits through the level under consideration as follows. 50% of the occupant load in the first adjacent story above and 25% of the occupant load in the story immediately beyond the first adjacent story. Arrangement of exits. If only 2 exits are required, they shall be placed at a distance apart, not to less than 1/5 of the perimeter of the area served, measured in straight line because between exits. Where 3 or more exits are required, they shall be arranged in a reasonable distance apart so that if one becomes blocked, the other will be available. Remember, we have the distance for exits of every exit is 1/5 of the perimeter of the area. Distance of 2 exits. No point of the building without a sprinkler system shall be more than 45 meters from the exterior exit door. A horizontal exit passageway and the enclosed stairway measured along the line of travel. Automatic fire extinguisher system. The distance of the exits may be increased to 60 meters. Types of locks or latch. Exit doors shall be openable from the inside without the use of key or any special knowledge or effort, except for this requirement shall not apply to the exterior exit door for Group E and F. Occupancy. If there is a conspicuous, readily visible, and durable sign on the adjacent to the door stating that the door is to remain unlocked during business hour, the locking device must be of a type that will readily to be distinguishable as lock. Flush bolts or surface bolts are prohibited. When we're talking about exits, these kinds of locks is acceptable for the use of the exit, but the bolts there are not acceptable. Doors. The provision herein shall apply of every exit doors serving an area having an occupant load more than 10 or serving hazardous rooms or areas. The swing of the exit doors. Exit doors shall swing in the direction of the exit travel through serving any hazardous areas or when serving an occupant load of 50 or more. Double acting doors shall not be used as exit serving the tributary occupant load for more than 100, nor shall they be used as a part of the fire assembly, nor equipped with a panic hardware. A double acting door shall be provided with a view panel of not less than 1,300 square centimeters. Width and height. Every required exit door shall be of a size as permitted in the installation of the door not less than 900 mm in width and not less than 2 meters in height. When installed in exit door shall be capable of opening at least 90 degrees and shall be so mounted that the clear width of the exit ways is not less than 700 millimeters. Remember that exit doors measures 900 millimeters to 200 meters. And also, it should open at least 700 millimeter. Door lift with no lift of an exit door shall exceed 1.2 meters in width. So we have here a figure of how the exit door lift. So in this part here, there is an opening of two kinds of door. So it mentioned here that the exit should be opened along the traffic of the users. So we have here the two kinds of door are opened 90 degrees. It will give you the correct standard for opening of the exit doors. Special doors, revolving, sliding, and overhead doors shall not be used as required exits. So this kind of door is not allowed in exits as exit doors. Egress from the door. Every required exit door shall be immediate access to an approved means of egress from the building, meaning has the opening or a means that it will lead you to the exit of the building or going out of the building. Change in floor level of doors. The floor or landing shall be leveled with or not more than 50 millimeters lower than the threshold of the doorway. Door identification. Glass doors shall conform to the requirements in Section 1805. Other exit doors shall be so marked that they are readily distinguishable from the adjacent construction. We have here some example of glass exit doors. Additional doors. When additional doors are provided for the egress purpose, they shall conform with all provision in all the following cases. Approved revolving doors having leaves will collapse under opposing pressure may be used in exit situation, provided that such doors have a minimum width of 2 meters or they are not used in occupancies where exits are required to be equipped with panic hardware or at least one conforming exit door is located adjacent to each revolving doors installed in a building and the revolving door shall not be considered to provide any exit width. Corridors and interior exit balconies. The provision herein shall apply to every corridors and exterior exit balcony serving as a required exit for an occupant load of more than 10. The width every corridor or exit balcony shall not be less than 1.1 meters in width. The projection, the required width of corridors and exteriors exit balconies shall be unobstructed except that trim handrails and doors when fully open shall not reduce the required width of more than 200 millimeters. Doors in any position shall not be reduced or required width of the corridor by more than one half, meaning that for corridor and exit balconies, they shall be not there should be no obstruction within the exit doors or exit facilities. We have here a balcony of a certain building which serves at both the corridor and an exit for the occupants in this building. Access to exits. They shall be so arranged to allow going to either directions from any point in the corridor or exterior exit balcony to a separate exit except for dead end permitted by this code. Dead ends, corridors, and exterior exit balconies with dead ends are permitted when the dead end does not exceed 6 meters in length. Construction. Wall and ceiling of the corridor shall not be less than 1 hour fire resistive construction. Opening. Where corridor wall are required to be 1 hour fire resistive construction, every interior door opening shall be protected as set forth in the generally recognized and accepted requirements for dual-purpose fire exit doors. In this section, it specifies that should be a fire-resistant material installed on every exit, especially for the dead ends and in the constructions. We have here in this figure a corridor of a certain building and its way lead to the exit. This building is constructed with a fire resistive material. Another one here, the direction of your balcony or corridor should go either sides or either direction, provided that it will not be obstructed by those who use it. The arrow represent for the dead end in this plan is stated in this figure where there is an exit at both ends. So the dead end here is the portion where there is no exit facilities. Sub-stairways, except stairs or ladders used only to access equipment. Every stairway serving in a building in portion thereof shall conform with the following. With stairways serving occupant load of more than 50 shall be less 1.1 meters. Stairways serving an occupant load of 50 or less may be 900 millimeters. Private stairways serving the occupant load less than 10 may be 750 millimeters. Handrails shall not reduce the required width by more than 100 millimeters. So meaning it will be dependent on the number of occupants, your width of your exit stairways or stairways. Mostly, the handrails is not included in the weight of the stairways. It should be added in the width of the stairways. But in this section, it specifies the minimum width of the stairways. We have here different kind of stairways showing that the handrail is not part of the width of your stairways. Another one here is a stairways with a sliding, like a going to the pool, sliding down. Rise and run. The rise of every step in the stairway shall not exceed 200 millimeters and the run shall not be less than 250 millimeters. The maximum variation in height of riser and the width of the tread in any one flight shall be 5 millimeters, except in cases of private stairways serving an occupant load of less than 10. The rise be 200 millimeters and the run may be 250 millimeters. We are talking about stairways and its properties. So we have here the minimum of your rise, which is maximum of rise is 200 millimeters, and for the run that is 250 millimeters. So we have here in this figure we have a landing platform, the flat where the stairs is has a big floor like construction, and the handrails will serve as the on the side, and the riser are the actual part of the stairs. Winding stairways. In Group A occupancy and in private stairway of Group 8 occupancy, winders may be used if the required width of run is provided at a point not less than 300 millimeters from the side of the stairway. We have here the winding stairway. The stairway tends to curve or to wind up going upwards. Circular stairways. Circular stairways or circular stair may be used in an exit provided a minimum width of run not less than 250 millimeters. All threads in any one flight enters landing shall be identical dimension with a 5 millimeter tolerance. We have here a figure of a circular stairway. They are quite the same with winding stairway, but for circular stairway, we have here the support at the middle. Landing. Every landing shall have a dimension measured in the direction of the panel equal to the width of the stairway. Such dimension not exceed 1.2 meters. Basement stairway, where a basement stairway and a stairway to an upper story terminate in a same exit enclosure. An approved barrier shall be provided to prevent persons from continuing on to the basement. Directional exit signs shall be provided. We have here an example of a stairway or a basement stairway. As noticed, in the upper part there is a enclosure that prevents the uh, people or person going through directly to the other floor. Distance between landings, they are shall not more than 3.6 meters vertical between landing. So the maximum spacing of landing to landing or vertical landing to landing is should be not more than 3.6 meters. The landing is a part of a stairway where they have a platform there that serves as the where the one used the stairway can rest for a while. So we have here the maximum distance, vertical distance of 3.6 meters. Handrails. Stairways shall have handrails on each side on every stairway required to be more than 3 meters width shall be provided with not less than one immediate or intermediate handrail for each 3 meters to required width. Handrails shall be placed not less than 800 millimeters nor more than 900 millimeters above the nosing of the hand, and ends of the handrails shall be returned or shall terminate in newel post or safety. So we have here a sample of a handrails representing the height is not more than 900 millimeters, and at the end of these handrails should be uh, provided that there is a safety feature on it. Exterior stairway protection. All openings in the exterior wall below or within 3 meters measured horizontally of an exterior exit stairway serving a building over 2 stories in height shall be protected by a self-closing fire assembly having a 3/4 hour fire resistive rating. Stairway construction interior. Interior stairway shall be constructed as specified in this code. Stairway construction exterior stairway shall be of incombustible materials. So this in this section it is specifying the construction of a stairway. So it should comply as mentioned earlier in this code. And we have here an example of a stairway construction and the exterior. So it shall have a fire resistive material and stairway to roof. In every building 4 or more stories in height, one stairway shall extend to the roof unless the roof has sea slope greater than 1 in 3. We are talking about the stairways to the roof, and in this figure and figures a sample of a stairway to the roof, that is the ladder there is excluded. Headrooms. Every required stairway shall have a headroom clearance of not less than 2 meters. Such clearance shall be established by measuring vertical from a plane parallel and tangent to the stairway thread nosing to the soffit above all points. Ramps. A ramp conforming to the provision in this code shall or may be used as an exit. The width of the ramp shall be as required for corridors. So we have here a sample of a ramp. So it is quite similar to stairway, but it doesn't have the rise of a run. It has a direct slope from one change in elevation to another. Horizontal exit. A horizontal exit may be considered as a required exit. All openings in the separation wall shall be protected by a fire assembly having a fire resistive rating for not less than 1 hour. A horizontal exit shall not lead into floor area having a capacity of an occupant load not less than the occupant load served by the such exit. The capacity shall be determined by allowing zero point 0.3 square meters of net floor area per ambulatory occupant and 1.9 square meters per non-ambulatory occupant. The dispersal area into the horizontal exit leads shall be provided with exits as required by this code. So we have here an exit passageway. So a horizontal exit is a exit way going out to the outside of the building. Exit enclosures. Every interior stairways, ramp, or escalator shall be enclosed as specified in this code, except that under other than Group O occupancies, an enclosure stairway in Group A occupancies need not to be enclosed. Enclosure walls shall not be less than 2 hour fire resistive construction. There shall be no opening into exit enclosures except exit doors and openings in exterior walls. All exit doors in the in an exit enclosure shall be approximately protected. Stairways and ramps enclosure shall include landing and part of the floor connecting stairways, flight, and other include a corridor on the ground floor leading to the stairway to the exterior of the building. Enclosed corridor or passageway are not required for an unenclosed stairway. A stairway and an exit enclosure shall not continue below the grade line unless an approved barrier is provided at the ground floor level to prevent persons from accidentally continuing into the basement. There shall be no enclosed unusable space under the stairway in an exit enclosure, nor shall the open space under such stairways be used for any purpose. So we have here a sample of a stairs or sample of an exit stairs going down to the basement. So it's underneath the stairs should not be used by other purposes only. In this case here, this is not what is meant in this portion of the code. So the exit stairs should have no other use under its stairways, unlike this one. So this is not a good exit stairways. Smoke-proof enclosures. A smoke-proof enclosure consists of a vestibule and a continuous stairway enclosed from the highest point to the lowest point by walls of 2 hour fire-resistive construction. Stairs in smoke-proof enclosures shall be in combustible construction. There shall be no openings in smoke-proof enclosures except exit doors, doorways, and opening in exterior walls. So this exit proof enclosures are enclosures for the structure so that smoke cannot get into it. We have here some figures of an exit proof enclosures. You have here the walls and the fan inside the enclosures, meaning that the smoke is not permitted to enter this uh, enclosure. The opening from a building to the vestibule or balcony shall be protected with a self-closing fire assembly having 1 hour fire resistive rating. The opening from the vestibule or balcony to the stair tower shall be protected by a self-closing fire assembly having a 1 hour fire resistive rating. A smoke-proof enclosure shall exit into the public ways or into the exit passageways leading to the public ways. A stairway in a smoke-proof enclosure shall not continue below the grade level unless an approved barrier is provided to the ground floor level to prevent person from accidentally walking into the basement. Exit outlets, courts, and passageway. Every exit shall discharge into the public way, exit court, or exit passageway. The width of these exit outlets, every exit courts, and exit passageways shall be at least as wide as the required total width of the tributary exits, such as required width being based on the occupant's load served. The slope of exit courts shall not exceed to 1 in 10. The slope exit passageway shall not also exceed to 1 in 8. Every exit court shall be provided with exits as required in this code. All openings into the exit court less than 3 meters wide shall be protected by a fire resembles having not less than 3/4 hour fire resistive rating. We have here some samples of an area where the exits leads to. It should be in the public places or in an area with a safe area for the occupants. Also here, the section we have here the doors. Exit should not go into this. No? So we have here in the first figure, we have to choose what doors is the real exits or exits should not be padlocked. So it should be used for emergency exit, not to padlock it. And also, exit should be leads to a public way, but not in the area where the person or the people goes to, and it will fall to the ground. So this is not a good example of an exit. Exit signs and illuminations. Exit shall be illuminated at any time the building is occupied with lights having an intensity of not less than 10.7 lux at floor level. We have here a sample of an exit sign that will lead the occupants there to the direction of the exit. It should be clearly visible by putting it with lights. Aisles. Every portion of the building in which are installed seats, tables, merchandise, equipments, or similar materials shall be provided with aisles lead to the exit. The width of the aisles or every aisle shall not be less than 800 millimeters wide of serving only one side and not less than 1 meter wide if serving both sides. Such minimum width shall be measured at the point farthest from the exit across cross aisles or foyer and shall be increased by 30 millimeters for every meter in length towards the exit across aisles or foyer. Sides aisles shall not be less than 1.1 meters in width. The exit distances, such exit doors shall be provided with a minimum clear width of 1.7 meters. In this portion here, we have here the dimension or the minimum required dimension of an aisle. This is a passageway between if there are seats or any occupants leads to in this area. We have here an example of an aisle. So an aisle, it could be present in the supermarket. It is the passageway of the people, or it could be in a theater, or it could be in the grandstand. It will provide access of the people going in and going out of the area. Cross aisles. Aisles shall terminate in a crossed aisles, foyer, or exit. The width of the cross aisle shall not be less than the sum of the required width of the widest aisle plus the 50% of the total required width of the remaining aisle leading thereto in Group C and Group C and E occupancies. Aisles shall not be provided a dead end greater than 6 meters in length. So we have here a example of a cross aisle where these vacant places, the aisles crossing each other, and the one in the box are the occupied with a occupancies, or it is occupied by people. So these cross aisles will serve as the passageway of people in different direction for this kind of room. Vomitories. Vomitories connecting the foyer of the main exit with the cross aisles shall have a total width not less than the sum of the required width of the widest aisle, leading to plus 50% of the total required width of the remaining aisles leading thereto. So these vomitories are a passageway of people in the or under the uh, stage or in the grandstands. So they are just like this, where the main people or the main character of the stage or in grandstands will go into this passageway. We call it the vomitories. Slope. The slope portion of the aisle shall not exceed to 1 in 8. Seats. The spacing of the seats is 450 millimeters clear for rows of 18 seats or less, 500 millimeters clear for rows for 35 seats or less, 525 millimeters clear for rows for 45 seats or less, and 550 millimeters clear for rows for 46 seats or more. The width of the seat shall not leave less than 450 millimeters. Reviewing stands, grandstands and bleachers. Height of stands made for combustible framing shall be limited to 11 rows or 2.7 meters in height. The minimum unit live loads for reviewing stands, grandstands, and bleachers shall be 500 kg per square meters of horizontal projection of the structure as a whole. Seat and footboard shall be 180 kilograms per linear meter. Spacing of seats. Row spacing. The minimum spacing of row of seats measured from back to back shall be 600 millimeters for the seats without backrest in an open air stand, 750 millimeters for seats with backrest, and 850 millimeters for chairs seating. There shall be a space of not less than 100 millimeters between the back of each seat and the front of the seat immediately behind it. Rise between rows. The maximum rise from one row of seats to the next shall not exceed 400 millimeters. The seating capacity. For determining the seating capacity, the width of any seat shall not be less than 450 millimeters nor more than 480 millimeters. The number of seats between any seat and an aisle shall not be greater than 15 for open air stand and with seats without backrest, for open air stand with seats having backrest and seats without backrest within building, and 6 for seats with backrest in building. Aisles. Aisles shall be provided in all stands. Seats are without backrest. The rise from row or to row does not exceed 300 millimeters per row. The number of row does not exceed 11 in height. The top seat board is not over 3 meters above grade, and the first sitting board is not more than 500 millimeters above grade. No obstructions shall be placed the required width of any aisle or exitways. When an aisle is elevated more than 200 millimeters above the grade, the aisle shall be provided with a stairway or ramp. Thus, with it not less than width of an aisle. No vertical aisle shall have a dead end nor or dead end more than 16 rows in depth regardless of the number of exits required. Aisle shall be a minimum width of 1.10 meters. Stairs and ramps. The requirement of this code shall apply to all stairs and ramps. The maximum rise of threads shall not exceed to 200 millimeters and the minimum width of the run shall be 280 millimeters. The maximum variation in this width of thread in any one flight shall not be more than 5 millimeters and the maximum variation in one height of the adjacent rise shall not exceed 5 millimeters. Ramp slope. The slope of the ramp shall not exceed 1 in 8. Handrails. A ramp with a slope exceeding 1 in 10 shall have handrails. Guardrails. Guardrails shall be required in all locations where the top of the seat plank is more than 1.2 meters above the grade and at the front of the stand elevated more than 600 millimeters above grade. Where only sections of stands are used, guardrails shall be provided. Railings shall be 1.10 meters above the rear of the seat plank or 1.10 meters above the rear of the steps in the aisle while the guardrails is parallel and adjacent to the aisle. A mid-rail shall be placed adjacent to the seat to limit the open distance above the top of any part of the seat to 250 millimeters where the seat is at the extreme end or the extreme rear of the bleachers or grandstand. We have here this figure of a handrail that is present on the sides of the stairs. It will guide or it will protect the users or the occupants from going or continuing to the other part of the stairs. While for guardrails, they are both used in the platform where the people will not be able to continue from or a flat surface. It could be present in rooftops or in a grandstands, serving its purpose to prevent people from going through on that part of the uh, building. Footboards. Footboards shall be provided for all rows of seats above the third row or beginning of such points where the seating plank is more than 600 millimeters above grade. Footboards are boards that will support the foot of the one using it. Exits. Distance to exits. The lines of travel of an exit shall be more than 45 meters. Aisles used as exit. An aisle may be considered as one or only one exit unless it is continuous at both ends to a legal building exit or to the safe dispersal area. A stand with the first seating board not more than 500 millimeters above the grade of the floor may be considered to have two exits when the bottom of the stand is open at both ends. Three exits shall be required for a stand within the building when there are more than 300 occupants within the stand and an open-air stand with seats without backrest, where a stand or section of a stand accommodates more than 1,000 occupants. 4 exits required. 4 exits shall be required when the stand or section of the stand accommodates more than 1,000 occupants. The total width of the exits in meters shall not less than the total occupant load served divided by 165, except that for open air stand with seats without backrest. Securing of chairs. The chairs and bleachers used in the raised stand shall be secured to the platform upon which they are placed, except that when less than 25 chairs are used upon the single raised platform, the fastenings of the seats to the platform may be omitted. Here is a sample of seats So these seats should be secured on a certain location. Safe dispersal area. Each safe dispersal area shall have at least two exits. If more than 6,000 persons are to be accommodated within such an area, there shall be a minimum of three exits. And for more than 9,000 persons, there shall be minimum of four exits. Uh, the aggregate clear width of the exits of the safe dispersal area shall be determined on the basis of not less than one exit unit of 600 millimeters for each 600 persons to be accommodated, and no exits shall be less than 1.1 meters in width, a reasonable distance apart, but shall be spaced not less than one-fifth of the perimeter of the area apart from each other. We have here a figure of a or plan of a building or a school. So this figure of a building has open open space outside to its building. Now it has a safe dispersal area outside. Now this plan illustrates to us that the building has a big space or safe space outside. Special hazards. Boiler rooms. Every boiler rooms and every room containing an incinerator or liquefied petroleum gas or liquid fuel fire equipment shall be provided with at least two means of egress, one of which may be a ladder. Cellulose nitrate handling. Film laboratories, projection rooms, and nitrate cellulose processing rooms shall have not less than two exits. Skylights. All skylights shall be constructed with a metal frame except those on Group A and J occupancies. Spacing between supports in one direction for flat wire glass in skylights shall not exceed 625 millimeters. Corrugated wire glass may be above supports 1.5 meters apart of the direction of the corrugation. All glass and skylights shall be wired glass. Skylights installed for the use of photographers may be constructed of metal frames and plates glass without wire nesting or netting. Ordinary glass may be used in the roof of skylights and greenhouses, provided that the height of the greenhouses at the ridge does not exceed 6 meters above the grade. The use of the wood in the frames of skylights will be permitted in greenhouses outside the highly restrictive fire zones if the height of the skylight does not exceed 6 meters above the grade, but it's in other cases metal frames and metal sash bars shall be used. Glass used in transmission of lights is placed in floors or sidewalks shall be supported by metal or reinforced concrete frames, and such glass shall not be less than 12.5 millimeters in thickness. Section 1209. Bays, porches, and balconies. Walls and floors in bays and oriel windows shall conform with the construction allowed for exterior walls and floors of the type of construction of the building to the which they are attached. We have here the sample of a porches, base, and also we have here the second figure, the balconies. It should conform with this section. Section 1210. Penthouse and roof structures. No penthouse or other projection above the roof structure in structures of other than type 5 construction shall exceed 8.4 meters above the roof when used as an enclosure of tanks or for elevator which run to the roof, and in all other cases shall not extend more than 3.6 meter in height with the roof. The aggregate area of all penthouse and other roof structures shall not exceed one-third of the area of the supporting roof. We have here example of a roof structures. So we can see here the roof is utilized as a balcony and a relaxing place or a cafe of a structure. Another one is above the roof. It has also a viewing deck for the one who occupied in this building. Prohibited uses. No penthouse, bulkhead, or any other similar projection above the roof shall be used for purpose other than shelter or mechanical equipment or shelter or vertical shaft opening in the roof. Roof structures shall be constructed with walls, floors, and roof as required for the main portion of the building except the following cases. For type 111 and for type 3 and type 4 construction, the exterior walls and roof of penthouses, which are 1.5 meters or more from the adjacent property, fine may be of 1 hour fire resistive incombustible construction. Wall not less than 1.5 meters above the exterior wall of a type 4 construction. Towers and spires. Towers and spires, when enclosed, shall be exterior walls which are required by the building to which they are attached. Towers not enclosed and which extend more than 20 meters above the grade shall have their framework constructed of iron, steel, or reinforced concrete. No tower or spire shall occupy more than one-fourth of the street frontage of the building to which it is attached, and in no case shall the base area exceed 150 square meters unless it conforms entirely to the type of construction requirements of the building to which it is attached to the limited height as in main part of the building. We have here the figure of a different kind of spires or towers, and towers that is mostly in the top of the building. Section 1211, Chimneys, Fireplace, and Barbecues. Chimneys, structural design. Chimneys shall be designed, anchored, supported, reinforced, constructed, and installed in accordance generally accepted principles of engineering. Every chimney shall be capable of producing a draft of appliances not less than that required of the safe operations of appliances connected thereto. Every masonry chimney shall have walls of masonry units, bricks, stone, listed masonry chimney units, reinforced concrete or equivalent solid thickness of hollow masonry and lined with suitable liners in accordance with the following requirements. We are talking about the chimney or extension of the roof where the smoke or fireplaces underneath is serving this kind of structure. Masonry chimney for residential type appliances. Masonry chimney shall be constructed of masonry units are reinforced concrete with walls not less than 100 millimeters thick of or of rubble stone masonry not less than 300 millimeters thick. Masonry chimney for low heat appliances. Masonry chimney shall be constructed of masonry units or reinforced concrete with wall not less than 200 millimeters thick, except that rubble stone masonry shall be not less than 300 millimeters thick. Masonry chimney for medium heat appliances. Masonry chimney of medium heat appliances shall be constructed with a solid masonry units of reinforced concrete not less than 200 millimeters thick. So we have here the kinds of standards or measurements for all kinds of chimneys. Masonry chimney for high heat appliances. Masonry chimney of high heat appliances shall be constructed with double walls and solid masonry units or reinforced concrete not less than 200 millimeters in thickness and with an air space of not less than 50 millimeters between walls. Chimneys for incinerators installed in multi-story building using the chimney passageway at a refuse chute where the horizontal grate area of combustion chamber does not exceed zero point 0.8 square meters shall have walls of solid masonry or reinforced concrete not less than 100 millimeters in thick with a chimney lining as is specified in this code. Masonry chimney for commercial and industrial type incinerators. Masonry chimney for commercial and industrial type incinerators of a size designed for not more than 110 kilograms of refuse per hour and having a horizontal grate area not exceeding 0.5 square meters shall have walls of solid masonry or reinforced concrete not less than 100 millimeters thick with lining of not less than 200 millimeters of fire brick, which lining shall extend for not less than 12 meters above the roof of the combustion chamber. Fire clay chimney lining shall not be less than 15 millimeters thick. The lining shall extend from 200 millimeters below the lowest inlet or, in the case of fireplace, from the throat of the fireplace to the point above enclosing masonry walls. We have here a sample of an incinerator that is used for most of the industrial buildings. So these are where the combustion or the burn their materials and the smoke there will goes to the chimney. So we have here stated in this section the standards for incinerators and chimneys construction. No chimney passageway shall be smaller in an area than the vent connection of the fire or the appliance attached thereto. Every masonry chimney shall extend at least 600 millimeters above the part of the roof through which it passes and at least 600 millimeters above the highest elevation of any part of the building within 3 meters to the chimney. No masonry chimney shall be corbelled from a wall more than 150 millimeters, nor shall a masonry chimney be corbelled from a wall which is less than 300 millimeters in thickness unless it projects equally on each side of the wall. Changes in size or shape. No changes in size or shape of a masonry chimney shall be made within distance of 150 millimeters above or below the roof joints of rafters where the chimney passes through the roof. When more than one passageway is continued in the same chimney, masonry separation of at least 100 millimeters thick bonded into the masonry wall of the chimney shall be provided to separate passageway. Every inlet to any masonry chimney shall enter the side thereof and shall be of not less than 3 millimeters thick metal or 16 millimeters refractory materials. Combustible materials shall not be placed within 50 millimeters of smoke chamber of masonry chimney walls when built within a structure or within 25 millimeters when a chimney is built entirely outside the structure. All incinerator chimneys shall terminate in a substantially constructed spark arrestor having a mesh not exceeding 20 millimeters. Clean-out opening shall be provided at the base of the every masonry chimney. Fireplace, barbecues, smoke chambers, and fireplace chimneys shall be of solid masonry and reinforced concrete and shall conform to the minimum requirements. For fireplace walls, walls of fireplace shall not be less than 200 millimeters in thickness. Walls of firebox shall not be less than 250 millimeters in thickness. For hoods, metal hoods used as part of the fireplace or barbecue shall not be less than number 18 gauge copper, galvanized iron, or other equivalent corrosion-resistant ferrous metals with all seams and connections of smoke-proof and soldered construction. The hoods shall be sloped at an angle of 45 degrees or not less from the vertical and shall extend horizontally at at least 150 millimeters beyond the limits of the firebox. Metals hoods shall keep a minimum of 400 millimeters from combustible materials. In this figure, we can have here the barbecues, the fireplace, and the hoods that are present in this section. We are referring to the sides or the insulation or bricks that is made or the thickness that is made in the fireplace and barbecues. Also, here is the uh, picture of a hood or sample of a hood, what it looks like. It is just the extension, or it is where the portion of the smokes and the barbecues will goes through in this shaft. No? This is the hood. Circulators. Approved metal heat circulators may be installed in fireplace. Smoke chamber. Front and side walls shall not be less than 200 millimeters in thickness. Smoke chambers back walls shall not be less than 250 millimeters in thickness. Fireplace chimneys. Wall of chimneys with a flue lining shall not be less than 200 millimeters in thickness. Clearance to combustible materials. Combustible materials shall not be placed within 5 millimeters of fireplace. Smoke chambers or chimney walls when built entirely within the structure, or within 25 millimeters when the chimney is not built entirely outside the structures. Area of flues, throats, and dampers. The net cross-sectional area of the flue and of the throat between the firebox and the smoke chamber of a fireplace shall not be less than the requirement to be set forth by the Secretary. Lintels. Masonry over the fireplace opening shall be supported by a non-combustible lintels. Every fireplace shall be provided with a brick, concrete, stone, or other approved non-combustible hard slab at least 300 millimeters wider on each side, then the fireplace opening and projecting at least 450 millimeters therefrom. Fire extinguishing system. This required standard automatic fire extinguishing system shall be installed in the following places in the manner provided in this code. In every story, basement, or cellar with an area of 200 square meters or more, which is used for habitation, recreation, dining, study, or work, and which has an occupant load more than 20. In all dressing rooms, rehearsal rooms, workshops, or factories, and other rooms with an occupant load of more than 10, or assembly halls under Group H and J, occupancies with occupant load of more than 500, and if the next door of said rooms are more than 30 meters from the nearest safe fire dispersal area of the building, or opening on an exit court or street. We have here the fire extinguishing system. So in this case, we have here they are using the fire extinguisher system, or in the other part here also they are using the sprinkler system, which uses pumps of waters and pipings that will leave or that will aid for fire extinguishing. In all rooms used for storage and handling of photographic, X-ray, nitrocellulose films, and other inflammable articles, every building, tower, or other stories in height shall be equipped with one or more dry standpipes. Dry standpipes shall be of wrought iron or galvanized steel, and together with fittings and connections shall be sufficient strength of withstand 220 kilograms per square meter of water pressure when ready for service, without leaking at the joints, valves, or fitting. Dry standpipes shall be of such size as to be capable of delivering 90 liters of water per minute for each of any three outlets simultaneously under the pressure created by one fire engine or pumper based on the standard equipment available. Every building, four or more stories in height, where the area of the floor above the third floor is 950 square meters or less, shall be equipped with at least one dry standpipe, and an additional standpipe shall be installed for each additional 950 square meters of fraction thereof. Meaning in this section that a standpipe is required in buildings for there are four or more story. So here are the figure of a dry standpipe. These pipes are empty pipes. They are used for fire extinguishing system, and the water there is supplied by the fire department or our nearest fire hydrant. Stunt pipes shall be located within enclosed stairway landing or near such stairway as possible, or immediately inside an exterior wall and within 300 millimeters of an opening in a stairway enclosed of a balcony or vestibule or of a smoke-proof lower or an outside stairway. Siamese connections are subject to the provisions of the subgraph 2, and all 100 millimeters by standpipe shall be equipped with a two-way Siamese fire department connection. All 125 millimeter dry standpipe shall be equipped with a three-way Siamese fire department connection, and 150 millimeters dry standpipe shall be equipped with a four-way Siamese fire department connection. All dry standpipe shall extend from the ground floor to the over in roof and shall be equipped with a 63 millimeter outlet not more than 1.2 meters the floor level of each story. All dry standpipes shall be equipped with a two-way 63 millimeter outlet above the roof. All outlets shall be equipped with a gate valves. An iron or bronze sign with raised letters at least 25 millimeters high shall be rigidly attached to the building adjacent to all Siamese connections, and such signs shall be read connection to dry standpipe. Wet standpipes. Every group H and I occupancy of any height, and every group C occupancy of 2 or more story in height, and every group B, C, E, F, and G occupancy of 3 or more story in height, and every group G and E occupancy over 1,800 square meters in area shall be equipped with one or more interior width standpipe extending from the cellar or basement into the topmost story. Interior wet standpipe shall be constructed of the same material as those required by the dry standpipe. Interior wet standpipe shall have an internal diameter sufficient to deliver 190 liters of water per minute under 2.0 kg per square centimeter pressure. At its connection, building of Group H and I occupancy shall have wet standpipe system capable of delivering the required quantity of pressure from any two outlets simultaneously. For all other occupancies, only one outlet needs to be open at one time. We have here a sample of a wet standpipe. This is quite the same with the dry standpipe. The only difference for this one is inside it there is a pressurized water that is flowing inside these pipes. Once this pipe is open, a flow of water is to be expected at a high pressure. So most of these pipes are also have a symbol or a signboard showing or telling us that you have auto sprinklers, wet standpipe, or fire department connection. Any approved formula which determine the pipe size and a pressure drop basis by the use to determine the pipe size of a wet standpipe system. All portions of the building were in 6 meters of a nozzle attached to a hose 23 meters in length. In Group H and I occupancies, outlets shall be located as follows: one of each side of the stage, one of the rear of the auditorium, and one at the rear of the balcony. Where occupant loads are less than 500 and above, requirements may be waived. All interior wet standpipes shall be equipped with a 38 millimeter valve in each story, including the basement of cellar of the building, and located not less than 300 millimeters nor more than 1.2 meters above the floor. All those threads used in the connections with the installation of such standpipe, including valves and reducing fittings, shall be uniform with that prescribed by the Secretary. Water supply. An interior water with stunt pipe shall be connected to the street main not less than 100 millimeters in diameter, or when the water pressure is insufficient to the water tank of sufficient size as provided in a subgraph 8. When more than one interior wet stunt pipe is required in the building, such stunt pipes shall be connected to their bases on at their tops by pipes of equal size. Tanks shall have a capacity sufficient to furnish at least 1,500 liters per minute for the period of not less than 10 minutes. Such tanks shall be located so as to provide not less than 2 kilograms per square meter pressure at the topmost base outlet of its entire supply. Discharge pipes from pressure tanks shall be extended 50 millimeters into the and above the bottom of such tanks. Fire pumps shall have a capacity of not less than 1,000 liters per minute when a pressure not less than a 2 kg per square centimeter at the topmost hose outlet. The force of the supply for such pumps shall be a street water main of not less than 100 mm diameter or 8 well or cistern containing 8-hour supply. An approved standard form of a wall hose reel or rack shall be provided for the hose and shall be located to as to make the hose readily accessible at all times and shall be recessed in the walls to protect by suitable cabinets. Basement pipes inlets shall be installed in the first floor of every store, warehouse, or factory where there are cellars or basement under same. All basement pipes inlets shall be of cast iron, steel, brass, bronze, with lead of cast brass or bronze, and shall consist of a sleeve not less than 200 millimeters in diameter, though the floor extending to and flush with the ceiling below and with a top flange resist with inside shoulder to receive the lid of and flush with a finished floor surface. Basement pipes inlets shall be strategically located and kept readily accessible at all times to the fire department. All fire extinguishing system includes automatic sprinkler with and dry standpipes, automatic chemical extinguisher, basement pipe inlets, and the appurtenances thereto shall be met the approval of the fire department as to installation and location and shall be subjected to such periodic tests as it may require. We have here the pictures of a basement pipings for wet standpipe and a dry standpipe. So in this case here, can see that all of these fittings and pipes are made of cast irons or metals as required by the code. Stages and platforms. Stage ventilators shall be one or more ventilators constructed of metal and other combustible materials near the center or above the highest part of any stage raised above the stage roof and having the total ventilation area equal to at least 5% of the floor area within the stage walls. Ventilators shall be opened by spring action or a force of gravity sufficient to overcome the effect of neglect, rust, dirt, expansion by heat or wrapping of the framework. Glass, if used in ventilators, must be protected against falling into the stage. A wire screen, if used under the glass, must be so placed that it cannot reduce the required ventilating area on interference with the operating mechanism or obstruct the distribution of water from the automatic fire sprinkler or fire extinguishing system. So we have here a sample of a ventilation system for stages. It is a has a direct or it could be a fan or anything that can circulate the air or can cool the air within that stage. So if needed, if glass is used, there is support underneath. It could be a net or a wire mesh that will prevent the glass and not prevent the ventilation. Ventilators, penthouses, and supporting frameworks shall be signed in accordance with this code. Springs, when employed to actuate ventilator doors, shall be capable of maintaining full required tension indefinitely. Springs shall not be stressed more than 50% of their rated capacity and shall not be located directly in the air stream nor exposed to elements. A fusible link shall be placed in the cable control system on the underside of the ventilator at or above the roof line as or as approved by the building official and shall be so located as not to affect by the operation of the fire extinguishing system. Remote manual or electrical control shall be provided for both opening and closing the ventilators doors for periodic testing and shall located at a point on the stage distinguished by the building officials. Grid irons. Grid irons, fly galleries, and pin rails shall be constructed in combustible materials, and fire protection of steel and iron may be omitted. Grid irons and fly galleries shall be designed to support the live load of not less than 367 kilograms per square meter. The main counterweight sheave beam shall be designed to support the horizontal and vertical uniformly distributed live load sufficient to accommodate the weight imposed by the total number of loft blocks in the gridirons. In buildings have the stage and the dressing room sections, workshops, and storerooms shall be located in the stage side of the proscenium walls and shall be separated from each other and from the stage by not less than 1 hour fire-resistive occupancy separation. A stage shall be completely separated from the auditorium by a proscenium walls or not less than 2 hours in combustible construction. We have here a sample of a gridirons. These are used for the sides of the stages and platforms, and also it could be used at the upper part of the stage or platforms. Stage floor. The type of construction for stage floor shall depend upon the requirement based on the type of occupancy and the corresponding fire resistive requirements. We have here a stage floor. It is used mainly for the performer of the stage or any guest or presentation that will be held on a stage. Platforms. The type of construction for platforms shall depend upon the requirements based on the type of occupancy and corresponding fire resistive requirements. Enclosed platforms shall be provided with one or more ventilators conforming to the requirements of stage ventilators. So platforms here those are assembled to make a stage. They are the supports of the flooring for the stage. In this case, in this figure, we can see an iron or assembled iron or assembled uh, pipes to make it a platform for the stage. Stage exits. All at least one exit less than 900 millimeters wide shall be provided for each side of the stage opening directly by means of a passageway not less than 900 millimeters in width to the street or exit court. So for stage exit, it should be exits to the open spaces. In this case here, like the one, this is a sample of a stage, and also the exit there, it should be if enclosed, it should be provided with exit, and a marking for exit is also will guide the uh, occupants there to where it leads in terms of egress. Section 1214, Motion Picture Projection Room. The provision of this section shall apply only where ribbon-type motion picture films in excess of 22 mm width of the electric projection equipment are used. Every motion picture machine using the ribbon-type film in excess of 22 mm width and electric arc projection equipment together with all electrical devices, thermostat, machines, and all such film presented in Group CI or H occupancy shall be enclosed in the projection room large enough to permit the operator of to walk freely on either side of and back of the machine. Every projection room shall be not less than 1 hour fire-resistant construction throughout, and the walls and the ceiling shall be finished with incombustible materials. The ceiling shall be not less than 2.4 meters from the finished floor. Every projection room shall have at least 2 doorways separated by not less than one-third the perimeter of the room, each of at least 750 millimeters wide and 2 meters high. All entrances to the projection room shall be protected by a self-closing fire assembly having the 3/4 hour fire resistant rating. Ports and openings ports is in this projection room walls shall be three kinds: projection ports, observation ports, and combination ports used for both observation and stereo opticon spots or floodlights machine. We have here a picture of a projection room or movie room. Here it is a room where this a theater or a movie or cinema underneath there. No? So we can see here where the film is placed and the film is played and it is watched in the cinema. Ports required. There shall be provided for each motion picture projector not more than one projection port, which shall be limited in the area of 750 square centimeters, and not more than one observation port, which shall be limited to the area of 1,300 square centimeters. Each port and every other opening projection rooms will include any fresh air inlets, but including exit doors and exhaust ducts shall be provided with a shutter of not less than 2.4 mm thick sheet metal or its equivalent large enough to overlap at least 25 mm on all sides of such openings. As for ventilation, a fresh air inlet from the exterior of the building not less than 900 square centimeters and protected with a netting shall be installed within 50 millimeter of the floor in every projection room, the source of which shall be removed from our other outside vents or flues. For outlets, ventilation shall be provided by one or more mechanical exhaust system, which shall draw air from each arc lamp housed to outdoors either directly or roughly in an incombustible fumes used for no other purpose. All shelved fixtures and fixed equipment and in projection rooms shall be constructed with incombustible materials. Section 1215. Lathing, plastering, and installation of wall boards. The installation of lath, plaster, and gypsum wall boards shall be conformed with the fire resistive rating requirements of the type of construction of building. So this kind of lathing here is a outside covering for the main wall. It could be in this case we have a picture of lathing and a picture of plastering. So as you can see, mortar is plastered on a wall with a wire mesh, and also here is the wall boards. Walls are covered by wall boards. And that would be the end of this chapter. Thank you for watching this video and hope you understand the contents and all its accessories in this video. So I will be thankful to you for watching it, and God bless you. And also, may the force be with you. Bye bye.